Hey, 5079 students, we're done. This is our last week, and I feel like it flew by, but I know that many of you are stressed out with school starting this week, and so maybe it doesn't feel that way to you. In this video, I want to just address our last week's readings with the 4Cs and do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I have my last lecture, which I'm going to link on a separate video. But first, well, let's start with the housekeeping. You might have noticed I've already, so normally I don't do this. I don't like to work ahead as far as grading goes because I like to batch grade. But many of you wanted to be done before school started, so you've done all the work. So I went ahead today and I'm 100% completely caught up on grading. So I've graded. If you've already posted for this week in the discussion, or if you've done your competency, I've already graded all those things. So you should be able to hop into Canvas right now, see your final grade, and I haven't put zeros for those who haven't completed this week. So yours isn't totally accurate. So if you haven't done this week's, do it. And I'll try to stay every day. I'll check in on grading this week so you can feel like you're done, you can move on with your life. I know a lot of you are anxious to just wrap that up. So I am 100% caught up, but you will need to hop into Canvas and make sure everything looks right. Occasionally I make mistakes in grading, so don't feel bad if you have to reach out to me and say, hey, I thought I did full credit on this and you marked me down or whatever. So check first, but then if you need to, reach out to me and I will double check on things. As soon as it's available to submit grades, I will. So the sooner you can wrap things up and get them submitted on your end, the better it is for both of us. If things just aren't happening and you're really concerned about your grade, reach out to me, communicate with me, let me know how things are, and I might be able to work with you within certain parameters. So just let me know. And I think that's it. So it was a pretty simple format for the class this semester. It was my first time teaching it. And so I would love any feedback that you're willing to give with me. If you want to record a video message or a text message and just email me or message me in Canvas. I would love to know how to improve this class. I felt like I learned a lot. And so if I'm learning that much, I'm guessing you're at least learning something because you're sharing ideas with each other. And I really appreciate how some of you really took that upon yourself to share lesson plan ideas and things in the discussions where you were truly sharing your experiences with each other. I feel like that was worthwhile for you, but it also benefited me. So thank you for that. It really was a pleasure to teach this class this term, and I think I'm going to be able to teach it again. So I'm excited to make some tweaks and changes and move forward with that. As far as this last week's readings on the 4Cs and what you did with just creativity, collaboration, and all those things, in the early feedback that I saw and the questions that you wrote, it seems to be similar questions to what you've had in other weeks. How can I do this in my classroom? However, a lot of you seemed really interested this time in how can I help my colleagues see the importance for this. And I think I'm going to give you the same feedback that I've given you all term long, which is do your best to model, do your best to improve your practice and do what you can do, reasonably do within your own classroom or your own situation. And then after that, when you model, people seem to come along. And so I had a question. When I have students do group projects, I give them multiple modes of creation to show mastery, but they never break away from their old slideshow. How do I get my students to put in the effort? And so I'm going to address this both on the student side as well as others who have said, I have reluctant colleagues who aren't coming along. What I say is, you can do all these things. If you want to be a better teacher, you can look for opportunities to be creative, to introduce critical thinking in your classroom, to improve communication and collaboration. And these will be some of your favorite things when you look back at teaching. I look back at my career and some of my favorite projects. I think of when I was at the University of Wisconsin, my students weren't thinking critically, and I wanted to help them with that. And so I created my own teaching journal, the Journal on Best Teaching Practices. and I created a press, and I got students to volunteer to work as editors and photographers and web designers, and they worked on this project with me. We created a legit online teaching journal, and I helped 50 students get their first publications. And it was a very meaningful assignment, but the big result for me was my freshman writers improved their writing, and I wasn't a writing teacher, but by raising the stakes, by having an opportunity to get published, my students worked much harder on the assignment. Plus, they had a double blind vetting system, for evaluating their work. And so they got experience on the other side of that as editors and evaluators, which I think was really worthwhile. Well, that project was a ton of work for me. And I did it for 4 years, and it was worthwhile. But obviously you can't do stuff like that all the time or you'll burn out. And so I discontinued it. And now I'm doing another project that I'm going to introduce to you here in a minute. And I seem to cycle through projects. With fifth grade, I loved doing class auctions, and I loved having a classroom economy. My students would save up and work towards things. And that was something that was super fun and worthwhile. And so we cycle through different things, and we can do that in our own classrooms. Excuse me. It's also important to give yourself grace. I have weaknesses as a teacher, and I couldn't always do everything the way I wanted to. And sometimes it's okay to say, hey, this is how I want to do it in the future. I'll write it down in my teaching journal. I'll have ideas so that when I have a little more mental energy, I can do it. It doesn't always work the way you want to. In fact, let me introduce a project I'm working on now that I didn't work on this summer. I had planned to, but this kind of gets at creativity and collaboration. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see here. I think it's this one. Share. And I'm going to hop on over to this. Okay, so you should be able to see this now. This is the Creator Economy University. One of the issues that I'm really concerned about right now, so several years ago, I hated teaching online. I never wanted to be an online teacher. Face-to-face is where things come alive, and I really love being in the classroom. But I saw this growing need, and so I started doing online teaching. And as I did that, I saw, oh, this is going to be part of the future of education. And I thought, there are skills that I've acquired just because of my own interests. I'm a web designer. I've done podcasts, YouTube, stuff like that. And I think the skills I developed in doing those things would be really helpful to people preparing to become teachers, because they might want to create a YouTube channel or a podcast. They might want to have their own website so they can communicate better with parents and their students, or make more resources available to them. And so I was thinking about, well, how come we're not offering this as a class? And would it be in a school of education, or would it be a business class or entrepreneurship? And I just was really unsettled about it. And so about this time last year, I think, I got this idea to create something that would help teachers at least get their feet wet with creating content. And so I developed this idea of the Creator Economy University. The creator economy is simply the economy that has grown around being a content creator. And so when we think, probably the king of content creation is Mr. Beast, and he has an economy around his videos, not just through the ads and the sponsors and everything else, but he has then created different businesses and philanthropies. So he's a really great example on the high end of what a creator can be. But as a teacher, we all have opportunities to share what we're creating with the world as well. And so I created this little website, and you can go there if you want to. It is not very developed, but if you click on courses, the idea here is that we'll offer certain courses for free to teachers on the creator economy, personal branding, social media. And then my students asked, well, what about other things that we want, things that we wish they'd taught us in high school, like financial literacy or adulting? And so I've been considering those things. If we click here on Creator Economy, you see kind of this shell where I have a syllabus and different modules. And if I click on the first module, what is the Creator Economy? Oh, it has a broken link, so I have to fix it. Darn it. See, this is my whole point. I wanted to share with you something I'm doing, but it's not done. It's in progress. And I'll hop on this today. I had really hoped this summer that I'd be able to develop some of these courses. And I think this is a huge opportunity for me, but also for any of you who, as we look to the future of education, I think our role as, it used to be sage on the stage, now we're more guide on the side. And I think what we do as a facilitator is important. Certainly in this class, I got to take that role as facilitator, and I wasn't doing as much direct lecture, but I was making sure that you were interacting with each other. I'm also a curator, right? So I was finding articles. I spent a lot of time looking for short little articles that would be helpful for you. And I think we can do that with online videos like on YouTube. And so my idea for this website is I'm going to act as curator. I'm going to find what other people have already said about these things and structure it in a way that's useful to students so they can go through on their own pace and learn those different things. Now, I was thinking about it over the summer, and I thought it actually makes more sense to separate the creator economy from like the adulting 101. So out on a run a few weeks ago, I got this idea for Hill Academy, and Hill stands for Happy Independent Lifelong Learner, which is pretty cool. And I thought I'm going to put courses there under Hill Academy. So I went and bought a domain today, actually, hillacademy.org. So this is just what I threw up in a few minutes. But here, if we click on courses, you'll see we've got Happiness 101, Independent Living or Adulting 101, and lifelong skills like study skills. And eventually I want financial literacy and other things here. So there's an opportunity to develop these courses in a very similar way to Creator Economy, where I find the things that already exist. I'm actually really interested in the happiness research. And so I already do research in that area. I hope to publish a few articles shortly about happiness and its connection to lifelong learning. So this is being developed. So I show you this as an example of something that kind of hits at critical thinking and collaboration and some of those creativity, certainly. But it's also, I'm also going to extend an invitation to you. If these two websites have some appeal to you and you'd like to see them be developed, I would be happy to bring you aboard and involve you in the process. In fact, you don't have to do anything formally. In fact, you can look at Happiness 101 and think, what would be a good video that we should share about happiness? Or over on the Creator Economy, if I come back to my courses here, let me see. If I come back to maybe financial literacy, maybe you know a lot about money and you have a resource, a website, or an article or a video where you think if other people watched this or read this, it would benefit their life. You can simply email those things to me and I'll upload it myself. Or if you want to fully develop a module or a course, have at it. Like, what a fun project to do on the side. I'm looking forward to developing this further because it can benefit my own students here locally, but obviously this is a resource open to the world, and it can make a difference. And so I'm really excited to be part of this project. We're in the beginning stages, but I'd like to invite you to join me with this. And if you have an interest, feel free to shoot me an email, tyler@tylerchristiansen.com, and I'll get you involved, and if to the level that you want to be involved. Or if you simply have a link or a resource, just email that to me and I'll upload it. So that would be great. So that's what I kind of wanted to share with you as far as my thoughts on the 4Cs and what we studied this week. As far as the rest of this course, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to try to wrap things up the best I can this week. Obviously, I'm also gearing up for the new school year, and so I have a lot going on right now. But if you need anything, let me know. There is a teacher evaluation that they want you to fill out, and there might be a few other emails or things that I'll post this week. I don't really know how this works right now. This is new for me. And so as far as your credit and the endorsement and things like that, there might be a few little things that you have to do. So I'll let you know whatever I know. As far as teacher evals, please fill that out. Feedback is really helpful. If you have anything else that you want to give me feedback on, you can message me or just shoot me a video. Like if you want to do a video feedback within any of the forums or assignments, you can do that. I think that pretty much covers it. Finally, I forgot about this. My last thing, I always end my classes with a last lecture. And this is different because it's online and it's not with my undergraduates. And so I didn't know, I didn't really feel comfortable recording a completely separate thing for you. So what I'm going to do is on the same page where I put this extra credit thing, I'm going to at the bottom just embed a video that I filmed a couple months ago for my undergraduates, and it's my last lecture. If you've seen Randy Pash's last lecture, he was a professor that gave a lecture before he passed away, and it was very inspiring to me. And I love the idea of imparting wisdom that's maybe not related directly to what we talked about in class. Just as one human to another, there are things that I think will make your life better. And so I want to share what I can. So I created a last lecture. It is a little longer. It's like 40 minutes long. And I get a little emotional in it. So I apologize for that in advance. But I do think that I share some worthwhile things. So if you have some time, which no one does right now, so maybe in a few weeks, when things calm down, if you have some time, I'd love for you to watch the last lecture. And if you have any feedback on it, reach out to me and let me know what experiences you've had and how you've learned in those different areas of your life as well. All right. I feel like I'm rambling now, so it's time to wrap up. Have a wonderful new school year. You guys are the cream of the crop, the best of the best. I love being here in Utah, being surrounded by such fantastic teachers. And thank you once again. I learned so much from you this semester. It was such a pleasure to be with you. So thank you very much, and good luck with everything moving forward. Bye bye. I have to stop share first and then press stop.